So here we are, guys. We are at that time of the year that everyone loves. Playoff racing, NASCAR fans, they just love to hear that phrase to death. And now the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series gets their postseason started in freaking July of all months, as these 10 drivers are going to be locked in and loaded, although there's going to be a lot of dead time twiddling their thumbs considering how spread out the races are. But either way, it's going to be a tough fight considering the competition and the intensity we've seen in the Truck Series once again this season. NRF Productions proudly presents the Spotter's Guide, predicting the 2022 NASCAR Truck Series Playoffs. But I wholeheartedly believe Zane Smith is destined for a breakout season, especially since he'll have a ton of OEM support from Ford. What did I tell you guys back in March? Zane Smith came to Row Motorsports on a mission. He was looking for that opportunity to mend a broken heart after so many times of being close but never being close enough. It turns out joining a team that also knows a thing or two about playoff heartbreak, in the words of Larry Mack, is the subway right combination. Winning 3 races in the regular season championship is a start, but you know deep down Zane Smith and Chris Lawson, they want more. And to do so, they're going to have to overcome a regular season curse, at least for the Truck Series, as Christopher Bell is the only driver in the playoff era for the Truck Series to win both the regular season and the Ultimate Championship in the same year. So why is that? Honestly, I think when you become the Mighty Mouse of the season, there's bound to be a cat that is going to chase you down, and especially in the Truck Series when you have tighter competition, that means you're going to have less of an advantage compared to Cup and Xfinity. However, considering that this is Ford's only entry in the playoffs, I have them faring much better. Now, what is that going to be? Is that going to be a championship, or is it going to be making the championship 4? We're going to have to find that out later on in this 7-race fight. God has been awfully good to Chandler Smith this season, not only in the fact that he will be blessed with a baby boy this fall, but his racing career is finally starting to trend upwards. All of this at the young age of 20, as the most important thing to note about Chandler Smith in this 2022 racing season is the increased maturity and consistency out of this guy. All of last year, Chandler Smith finished 18 races. He was one of the most inconsistent drivers in the entire field. This season, he is on track to have 0 DNFs, and he has boosted his average finish in a big way because of it. I've heard a lot of people say that parenthood is the thing that matures you as a man, and honestly, I cannot deny that claim from what I've seen from Chandler Smith in this 2022 season. Chandler Smith has separated himself from the Todd Gillilands and the Harrison Burtons of KBM, but still he enters this postseason far from being along the likes of Eric Jones and Christopher Bell. Despite the clutchness we've seen from him, especially in the 18, we will have to see what Chandler Smith is going to do in a championship situation. This is a different breed than the regular season. These are where champions are made and drivers become who they are, and Chandler Smith has a lot to prove still in this postseason. The locomotive for TSport just keeps on chugging along no matter the situation, and once again, the driver that won it all, Ben Rhodes, is leading the charge in this season. Has he had the football record to rival the Green Bay Packers? Absolutely not. At 1-15, that is a resounding no. Bristol Dirt has been his only win on the season, and you can see from this graph, Ben Rhodes has in fact been a bit sluggish in this second half. Rich Lucius, they haven't shown the speed, they haven't shown the result. Averaging a finish of 16.2 and having just 4 top 10 finishes in the last 10 races. Heck, Ben Rhodes even straight up admitted that a Pocono regular season finale wasn't his style, preferring a Martinsville or Bristol. While there's no Martinsville in the playoffs, which is an unspeakable act by NASCAR to give the paperclip the boot, I have no clue what the France family or the TV networks were thinking in this situation. You're going to have IRP, Richmond, Bristol, and Phoenix in the playoffs. They are the untypical 1.5 mile high-speed tracks, and I think that is going to aid his championship defense a bit. And even with these struggles, the most important thing to note about this 99 team is they know how to get it done. They didn't have this in 2020, they didn't have this in 2021, and that put them behind a bit. Now they know the exact path. So yes, they are a bit sluggish. That's something to be concerned about. But this is a team, Ben Rhodes and Rich Lucius, that can easily put it behind them and just start chasing after wins at the flip of a dime. So during a race, there's many things that goes through a race driver's mind, not screwing up the race start, making sure you're going at pit road speed, stuff like that. You want to know what Jon Hunter Nemechek had in his mind the entire season? The one thing that he made sure not to do throughout the regular season? He didn't want to peak too early, and for good reason, as in the regular season last year, he was the driver that everybody was chasing. Everybody and their mother wanted to be Jon Hunter Nemechek. And guess what happened? Jon Hunter Nemechek ultimately lost the momentum in the playoffs and didn't win the championship. And like I mentioned with Zane Smith, I just think the fact that, being the carrot in the situation, the driver that everybody's chasing, especially in the Truck Series, that is not a comfortable thing to do. And I think Jon Hunter Nemechek realized that, so he went into this season thinking, I'm not going to peak, I'm not going to show my best, and certainly he has not shown what he is capable of in this second season at KBM. Looking at the stats, he has just one win, and in a lot of ways, it's been an odd year for Nemechek, as honestly, it seems like he's made quite a bit more mistakes than usual. You had Gateway, where he decided to go 3 wide, kind of a bonehead move, spun himself out, and that ruined his race. So in many ways, you can see where he hasn't necessarily peaked. Still, this is a team that knows how to win races, and I think he and Eric Phillips, despite some of the inconsistencies, the bonehead moves, they can flip the switch. This Ford team, they've had some speed. And if all of this was on purpose, that's why this team is a serious threat. This Ford team is one that can really make a push here for Phoenix in 2022. Stuart Friesen is having a good time, and you guys might think I'm saying this because he looks a lot like a certain rock star of the 80s, but you're dead wrong, man. Because Friesen this season, he has wanted to break free, and here he is. 1 win at Texas and his most laps led since 2019, where he ended up making it to the championship. Halmar Racing this season, they definitely have the horsepower and the consistency to make a deep run. That's something they didn't have in 2020 and 2021. And I think in many ways, John Leonard has finally matured into that lead guy on that 52 team. They have a direction going for them. They're finally going the direction that Trip Bruce had them going, and honestly, I think this is Stuart Friesen's best chance since 2019 to get the job done. I expect more aggression like we saw at Martinsville in 2021 to finally get the job done, make a major push for this championship. Christian Eckes has finally gotten some of the bad taste out of many NASCAR fans' mouths, considering he not only failed at KBM in 2020, but also the fact that he was the innocent bystander to demote Grant Enfinger to the part-time run in the 98. Eckes this season has already tied his career best in top 5s and is on pace for his best career average finish. This is not the point of concern for Christian Eckes. The NASCAR playoffs, they're all about rising to the occasion. How many times have we seen where it takes a win, it takes a clutch moment to advance through these rounds? Being clutch has not been in Christian Eckes' vocabulary this season. I mean, he's been close, but he had a bonehead block on Kyle Busch that costed him at Las Vegas. He had Texas where he lost the win thanks to overtime and a last lap pass by Stewart Friesen. And then you had Gateways. Eckes was sailing. He made an awesome outside move on Derek Kraus. But then the overtime came along, and then the KBM Toyotas basically ganged up on him in overtime. Yeah, Eckes and second-year crew chief Jerry Prince, as good as they've been this season, they have to get that monkey off their back if they have any aspirations of going into this playoffs knowing that they can get the job done and potentially win the championship. Similar to Christian Eckes, Ty Majeski has been another utility guy for ThorSport, taking over for the champion Johnny Sauter with the Joe Shear-led team, as this is one of the better teams at ThorSport, and I think it's proving that Johnny Sauter was really keeping this team back. While he hasn't shown the race-winning speed this season, he's been consistent, not the bride, but one of the bridesmaids that makes herself noticed by always being in the picture. 7 top 5s will do just that. And as a driver that hasn't raced full-time in any of the top 3 NASCAR divisions, we have a bit of an idea of what to expect from Majeski, and so do his competitors, and that is not exactly in a good way. There have been so many certified Ty Majeski moments this season where he has stuck his nose in there deep where it didn't belong, and he has wrecked a bunch of good trucks. Gateway, he got into it with Taylor Gray, ended his day, and it ultimately ended Majeski's as he got back there with the squirrels and involved in Nemechek's mess. Nashville, he took it 4 wide where it was not going to work, and that ended up tearing up even more trucks. As much as aggression can be a good thing, Majeski's going to have to check this because the drivers around him know how he races, and if he pulls that in a playoff situation, he's getting Kenseth for sure, and that is going to destroy any chance that he has of winning this championship or potentially making it to Phoenix. Holy Harry Hyde, Carson Hocevar made the playoffs, as let's be honest guys, he shouldn't even be here considering how his season has went. Did you see his wreck at Gateway? That hit that fractured his tibia should have honestly been a season-ending injury, but Carson Hocevar decided to react straight out of Monty Python.
Just a flesh wound.
He not only got back in the truck 6 days later, but he won the freaking pole for one of the most challenging courses in the series. Sonoma is not an easy track for a driver to navigate, and also you consider the fact that Kyle Busch was in the field, which I have to say, Kyle, man, who on earth would want to pay you $1 gazillion when you, with the best equipment in the field, cannot out-qualify an injured driver? Man, This guy, no talent. Carson Hocevar is greater than Kyle Busch confirmed. If you didn't think Carson Hocevar was built different when he was out here outperforming Brett Moffitt, well, now you believe it with all your heart. Still, like Eckes, this is a driver that has a lot to prove. He has shortcomings, as I can go over every single time he's lost this season, but that would make this video 20 minutes long. NRF Motorsports this season, they have the speed and Hocevar has the consistency. The ingredients are right there on the table. Now it is time for this 42 team to start cooking up some wins and start baking them to perfection. Carson Hocevar's situation is a stark contrast from the other Chevrolet team in the Truck Series Playoffs, GMS Racing and Grant Enfinger. I'm not doubting that Enfinger can drive a race truck, but he's been a little rusty in his return to the series full time. GMS, they have tried a lot of different things to get the puzzle pieces aligned just to make a run at this championship, even reuniting Enfinger with Jeff Hensley, the guy that gets it. You know, he leapfrogged from another competitive team, which we will get to later, to join this 23 team. Given this uncertainty, as well as the state of GMS Racing, they have not had the speed. They seem to be going downhill. There is a lot that they need to figure out, and that's really going to hurt them as they are trying to make a serious run at the championship. I haven't counted them out, but there's just too much uncertainty. They have not had the speed. They have not put together the results, the consistent results. Plus, in many ways, they seem behind the competition. I may be wrong. Grant Enfinger might be able to rally, but they have a lot. Grant Enfinger and his team have a lot of work cut out for them in this 7-race fight. Rounding out the 4 TSport entries and the 2022 playoff class is the guy that has made every single Truck Series postseason, and that continues in this iteration. We all know that Matt Crafton is a decorated driver in this series, 3-time champion, multiple wins, experience that is older than a lot of his competition. And this is something he will need to use dearly given his situation here in 2022. Junior Joyner is gone, and Matt Crafton just hasn't been the same, even with a guy like Jeff Hensley stepping in, then leaving mid-season to join his rival Grant Enfinger. Engineer Bud Hoffel has taken over, but there's still talks that the team could be shuffled around even more during the postseason run. That's a major problem for this 88 team. You need direction as a NASCAR Truck Series team, and that is hard to do when you do not have a clear direction. You do not have all the pieces, all the people in place. Yes, the last time Matt Crafton survived a pressure-packed cutoff race was the same year he won the championship, but that is different circumstances. And this 88 team, they need to get it together, otherwise, man, they are going to be screwed when it comes time to advance past these rounds. So the 2022 playoff fight has a bit of a shakeup, beginning with the fact that it is starting in July. We return to the Indianapolis Raceway Park for the first time since 2010 for the opener, return to Richmond for race 2, and wrap up the round of 10 1.5 months after race 1 with an elimination race at the Kansas Speedway. Round 2 consists of the traditional stops Bristol, Talladega, as well as the return of the Olmsted Miami Speedway to the playoffs as the final chance. The final shot to make it to the championship, which will be at the Phoenix Raceway once again. The season seems to have the theme of the skilled, established drivers of the season, like Nemechek, like Smith, both Smiths, Crafton, Rhodes, and Friesen, against the unestablished drivers like Hocevar, Eckes, and Majeski, looking for a bit of glory, setting up perfectly heading into this 2022 NASCAR Truck Series postseason. For the round of 10, this one is pretty easy. Grant Enfinger and Matt Crafton, they are veteran drivers, but their teams have a lot to figure out before they take that next step to competing for a title. They will be convincingly the ones looking on from the outside after the round of 10. As for the round of 8, I've got Eckes, Majeski, Friesen, and Rhodes. Yes, the defending champion out in the round of 8. For Ben Rhodes, it was close, but just looking at that round, I just don't think he will be able to get the job done compared to my 2022 Final Four, Zane Smith, Chandler Smith, Jon Hunter Nemechek, and Carson Hocevar. Yeah, Hocevar that does not have any wins on this season. He does not have that success, but honestly, I think that is going to change, especially with a Homestead cutoff race, which will put him over the edge, leaving the regular season champion, last year's dominant driver, and 2 youngsters battling for the title in Phoenix. That is going to be one heck of a battle, which means it probably won't happen. So anyways, this is Nathan for NRF Productions signing out, and just remember, guys and gals, life's a beach and then you drive.